you. I will share with you my screen now. I hope you see my screen. Yeah, no, I don't see. I won't be seeing you when I will be walking you through this. So if slides not going to be changing, please. Perfect. If slides not going to be changing, just let me know. Okay. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So welcome. This is a second meeting that we're doing. We started with before we were having these bi-monthly meetings, like every 2 months. And recently we decided to switch this to every 2 weeks because we have more things to say. So, and we changed it a little bit, the format. So this is a very quickly evolving presentation because all the time we're adding something. So if you're going to be joining for the next presentations, you will always be seeing something new and ever evolving. So this presentation is called Meeting with the Founder, and it is me. My name is Marat. I'm from Kazakhstan. I currently live in Costa Rica. Before I was living in Mexico. I'm 41. This year I'm 42. And for me personally, this project has started in May 2021 when I came to Costa Rica for the first time. And I came here with an initial idea to find the land and to start this project. So it was like very intentional trip to go and look for the land and do it because, well, it was the middle of pandemic and everything was like, okay, I have to. I decided that next chapter of my life I wanted to dedicate to this, and this is what is the ARK. So what is the ARK? And the ARK is a contemporary regenerative village. And we say that we're offering a healthy alternative to modern living. Well, why do we think that we need a healthy alternative to modern living? Because we truly believe that modern living is kind of disconnected, separated, that we live in wherever we live, in cubicles and different environments, and we're not supposed to live like this. And we live very disconnected from Earth. We live very disconnected from nature, from each other. We live in a very separated world, which creates a lot of conflict and which creates a lot of unnatural behaviors for humans, because we started thinking or imagining that we are not part of this nature anymore. That, well, there is a very obnoxious thought that we are kind of owning the nature and we are like the pinnacle of the evolution. And what the ARK is that we are bringing us back to nature and integrating, and through this we're healing ourselves and the larger community, and with an intention to heal the larger world through the ripple effects of what we're doing here. We chose Costa Rica intentionally because Costa Rica is this little country in Central America. This is a map of Costa Rica. And it's the country with no army. It's the country which is on 98% fueled by renewable energy. It's the first tropical country that reversed the deforestation. 54% of this country are dedicated to natural reserves, and 5% of the biodiversity of the world is concentrated in Costa Rica. We are located in Nicoya Peninsula, which is one of 5 blue zones in the world, where people, blue zones are where the people enjoy longer and happier lifestyles. And we are very easily accessible through international airports, either San Jose or Guanacaste, and then you can take a flight to Cobano and then drive just like 15 minutes to the ARK. So why Costa Rica in the first place? I personally was living in Mexico before, and for me, Mexico definitely was home. But at the same time, understanding of like doing such project that we're doing here in Mexico possesses its own risks, unfortunately, that you cannot influence. And also, I personally saw Costa Rica as like this canvas, this perfect canvas, thanks to everything that Costa Rica is famous for, to create the project that we're creating. So, but what is that what we're creating? We call that our mission at the ARK is to create a cooperative village rooted in regeneration and nurturing healthier living for everyone involved. And it doesn't matter that everyone involved are only residents, but everyone involved are everyone who touches the ARK this way or another, either people who are coming to stay with us, or people who are just visiting classes or weekly programming or concerts, or people who work with us. And moreover, of course, people who decide to make the ARK their home. But more than anything, the ARK is also a blueprint. It's a blueprint of ecosystem, this innovative regenerative living model that we're planning to help others to create in the places, in the communities, wherever they're going to be doing it in the world. So our higher purpose of the ARK is to serve as this blueprint for other communities and to offer this model built on regeneration and shared prosperity principles. And we're created on 4 pillars, because these are like, you can think of pillars of like, what's guiding us, what is like what we're standing on. And well, the first one is autonomy. The ARK was born from pandemic, right? So autonomy was very important in the moment, and moreover even now, because without autonomy, without independence, you cannot have freedom. And for me personally, freedom is my main value. So for me, if I'm not independent, if government out of nowhere can start telling me how I'm supposed to live, what health choices I'm supposed to make, I was like, wait a second, I'm out of this train. I want to create something where I'll be like completely resilient, and nobody will be able to come and tell me like, okay, now you cannot go to the cafe because you haven't taken certain medication or vaccine, or you should now create a certain passport to be able to come to the store. So I was like, how can I apply everything that I learned in life to create a little village in which we will have everything, that we won't have to prove to anyone whatever the government will be telling us to prove. So autonomy is the first one. And also during the same pandemic, health became very important, right? We all became very health conscious, health aware. And we all immediately realized that the healthcare system kind of betrayed us. And people who were supposed to heal us, we saw how these people became people who are just taking care of symptoms, and they're not looking into the root cause of whatever diseases, and sometimes they're just following certain companies' agenda. So for us, health became another pillar where we're like, how can we put each and every one of us into the driving seat of our health? Regeneration, as we're a contemporary regenerative village, so regeneration obviously is another pillar. And regeneration is, you can think about it as like restoration, renewal. So, and we thought of like, so what needs regeneration? And when normally you talk about regeneration, you always speak about, by the way, do you see the slides changing? I'm sorry. Somebody has to tell me to unblock the microphone.
Yes.
We are on
Okay,
the one
perfect.
with our
Okay.
pillar.
Okay, because there was one presentation where I was saying and people were silent, and I was like going to the middle of the presentation, like, we're afraid we're on the first slide still. I'm like, oh shit. So great, amazing. So regeneration is the third pillar. And normally I invite people to think like, so what requires restoration, right? Like what requires repairing in the current environment? And always the questions are the same, like education, businesses, human relations, land, of course, nature itself, right? So regeneration encompasses all of that. And that's where like we're applying regeneration to all the businesses or to all the relationships that we're creating. We're like, how can we think about it through the regenerative prism or lens? And how can we create relationships that nurture trust, rather than when you're thinking that you're entering into something where it's going to be a betrayal, right? Or how can we create education that's regenerating rather than creating consumers? And another one is unity. And unity is like doing it all together. And this togetherness is very important to us, because for me personally, it could be just a dream, I could come and I could like be proclaiming all this that we're creating, but I will never be able to do anything alone. As the same as anyone who has joined the ARK won't be able to do the same what we're creating alone. Only together, only in this And during this presentation, you will understand more and more how unity is an important things for us, I think for us. And I started the ARK, and also like during the process of like its evolution, we realized that there has to be something unique, that something which is not unique because like, oh, you have to be in business, something like differentiating factors, but something unique that truly reflects us. And I believe that we came with a pretty good components of this uniqueness. And first and foremost, we're fully self-funded. Very often such projects, because now the community movement is very large, right? Like everyone is talking about making communities, and very often such projects, real estate developments are despised as communities, right? There is always, or very often, there is a guy with money, or there is a hedge fund, or there is a bank that is financing these projects, and these are just real estate developments. And then there is a different interest which is very external from the community, and this interest is always saying like, give me back more money. And this is an important fact for the ARK. Being self-funded allows us to move. First of all, it invites us to move much slower, but at the same time, it allows us to be completely free. There is no one who is pressuring on us the whole project for the return of investment. So this is a big thing for us. Another thing is, remember I was saying about unity, and right, and this is, we call it like unity without dogma. Nobody is gonna tell you at the ARK like that's how you have to behave, or like, you know, no, this is like a cult and here we go, we have to be doing everything together. There is a lot of independence, a lot of free space, a lot of like, it's your life. You don't have to change anything. The fact is that when you're gonna get here and you're gonna fall in love with people, you will want to do things together. And therefore, it's this unity is something which is growing through us rather than something which is instilled. Another one is a profit share, and that's a big one. We're creating an innovative regenerative living model which is built on this ecosystem of connected businesses and services. And this ecosystem is, first of all, is self-funding itself, but at the same time, it rewards back the people who are choosing to make the ARK their home. So therefore, as a resident of the ARK, you're automatically becoming eligible for the certain profit inside of the project. So from all the businesses, and I'm going to explain it a little bit later, but from all the businesses that we're generating together and that we're supporting in unity, you as part of this unity is getting the share of these businesses. Another distinguishing factor is like full service living. We're striving to help residents in everything, and it's a growing evolution, right? It's like there is nothing here from 0 to hero, nothing from like 0 to 100. Where maybe at this part, we're maybe at our like 15%, but the idea is that where we're going to with this kind of ecosystem of services is that we want to support everybody who is choosing the ARK their home to guide you through the process of making this home an easier choice, be it a representation of people in the construction process, or further property management, or further services. So it's kind of full service living that we're creating here. Because also like living, and imagine if like you're deciding to just make Costa Rica your home and you're just deciding to build a house in the middle of nowhere, because you have this idea of Costa Rica where it's like a pristine jungle and you have your house there with a beautiful view. Then immediately you realize after making a house, you're like, oh, wait a second, now I have clogged pipes. To whom do I even call? So you have to like, you know, like a roof has fallen and the palm tree has fallen and now it blocked my driveway. So what am I going to do? And there are like hundreds of questions that appear that you were never thinking of, that you would have to think about that, because, you know, Eat, Pray, Love is not telling you about this, the problems when it's like promoting the idea of like this remote living. So we at the ARK, we're like, through this unity, we're providing this full service blend that helps you to live as much as possible, as much as it's possible in Costa Rica, the hassle-free life. Another one is residence benefits. So we're creating this tight community, which is, of course, having its own benefits within the project, right? So like whatever we are making, we're first and foremost, we're thinking, oh, okay, what benefit we can create for the residents. If this is a concert, can we make this concert free for the residents? If these are certain classes and movement classes, can they become free for residents? So when you're choosing the ARK Your Home, you can be sure that there is always a team that is thinking of how to make more benefits for all of us together. And last and not the least, we call it spirit and structure. It's something new that we implemented. Very often these projects like this, there are like people who are having great intentions and they go and do sacred plant medicine, and then they're like, let's create a community. And then it's just like, a bunch of people gathering without any understanding of project management or like, hard skills of engineering, architecture, construction, and all of that, because it's a lot of like structural work, right? And then these projects fall apart because they very often have very beautiful presentations and investment decks and pitches, and then these projects fall apart within the first year of their existence. And second year of their existence, another 90% of these projects fall apart. And this is what we call it spirit and structure. There is a clear operational structure in the ARK. There is a team that has a knowledge how to manage large-scale mega projects. There are people who understand what they're doing. I want to think that including me, and we are together. We're taking it. It's not just like it would be great to do. There is an actionable project line, steps, and proper project management structure behind us as the village. So this is what makes us unique. And remember, I was telling you about this profit share. So we thought that we have to dedicate one separate slide for this because it's truly unique thing. And uniqueness of it is consists from that is like, this is the ARK, right? And everything that we generate, and you think about real estate sales, right? Which is like lot sales, land lot sales, or development. So think about it. Now we're starting building houses, and we're going to start building houses as well. And we're making fractional ownership, and we're selling fractional ownership as well. So developments, they're naturally having larger profit rather than just empty lots, right? So developments are also falling into the redistributed pocket, let's say, so fund of the ARK. And then property management and hospitality, events, and all other businesses, like whatever is going to appear, like a holistic clinic or a school, everything, all of that is going to the ARK. And from the ARK, when we're going to finish the development of the project, so for now, all these funds are utilized to develop, to grow the project towards where we want it to be. And when this is going to happen, this is how we're going to redistribute the profits. So we purchased this land from a Costa Rican family who owned this land from 1966. And this was a pasture land from 1966. So they, in the 60s, they deforested this land to make a cattle raising farm. So now, after 60 years, we have a privilege to bring back the biodiversity. But aside of that, when we were starting this project, the idea was like, how projects like us, how can we be an example for other projects like us that are going to follow the steps, and how we can give them the example that you not necessarily have to misplace the local population from whom you're purchasing the land. So aside of just purchasing the land from them at the fair price, we also gave them 25% of all these businesses from all the profits that we're going to generate. So they're staying with us on the land forever. Another 44% are going to the team and active residents, residents who are participating and growing the village and creating the project happening. And other 31% are redistributed among all residents who are just purchasing the land. So this never exists, and this allows us actually, why this is possible. This is possible only because we don't have the investor. Only because there is nobody who is telling, like, I have to get the profits back from this project. So we were like, when we were thinking about, like, so this project is going to have profit, so what are we going to do with it? And this kind of invited through this kind of regenerative business approach, right? Like, and this is very easy. It's like the moment you walk away from your head towards the heart, then these things are becoming a natural invitation when you're like, okay, this is something fair to make. If you're purchasing the land and the village and the project, if you're becoming part of the community, and you naturally want your community to thrive, but then you have to be rewarded for it as well. So if you're bringing more business to the village, if you're utilizing the services of the village, why you're not getting back, right? And this sounds so weird, but this is how the capitalism is made, because then it's like, you're going to these closed gated communities where people are purchasing properties, and then you always feel that you're taken advantage of. There is a huge HOA, and then you have to pay for X, Y, Z, and then it's just like, other services that, and you're like, okay, so I'm actually like, I bought land, I built a house, and now I'm like kind of getting sucked out because somebody there just invested into this project. So this is the new model that we're offering, and this is actually this blueprint of this economical model is something that we want to offer to other communities, and on which we're working to spread the word through the ripple effects of which we are creating in this movement of communities making. So this is all a great, like, whenever I'm like speaking about this is something that drives me a lot. For me, like, this kind of economical change and the new structures is something is like, wow, yes, amazing. And it all feels like it's just like so easy and natural and great, but at the same time, projects like this, they take time. And I found this land in May 21, and we signed the contract for development in 2022. And the funny thing is that the funny story is that in 22, the pandemic was officially over. So by the time when we finished due diligence, and by the time we created legal framework and developed the master plan and signed the contract, and the pandemic was over, and the market fell down, and everybody immediately started traveling, and people forgot about the idea for a moment that they want to live in the community, or they want to live disconnected from cities, because now cities again became comfortable to live, because governments again decided that pandemic is over. We all know that COVID was never over, right? Whatever it was, but then the governments decided that now COVID is actually creating a lot of economical inconveniences for governments itself, and they're like, okay, now the pandemic is over, everyone can travel again, and people were like, oh wow, things are back to normal. Whatever it is, I don't know whatever it is, the normal in the perception of that kind of back to normality. You remember there was even a campaign in 22, like back to normality, and then like when you look at it back, you're like, wow, it was so orchestrated, all of that, and people just like a herd, like got like, guided towards like where they were supposed to go. And thankfully now the movement is coming back, because people understand that they got tricked again, and we're getting a lot of interest again of people like who want to start living in the communities, or start living off the land, or start living off grid, and be as independent as possible. But anyway, 22 and 23 were the years that tested us a lot. We had no sales, everything, like pandemic was over, interest in this kind of tropical locations was not there. And for me, these years were one of the toughest years of my life, to be honest. For me, it was like being completely alone and thinking of like, have I made a mistake, and have I trusted everything that I had, because I invested also all my money that I had at that moment. Have I chosen the path that is wrong? Because I was also seeing my friends traveling and enjoying life, and I was like, wow, I'm actually like, I screwed it up. But at the same time, the perseverance and the team was going forward, and it wasn't these years weren't the easiest ones. But at the same time, during this time, we decided that we have to start with the farm. So in June 22, we launched our farm, and I will give you a little bit later an update about the farm. We built water infrastructure. So like, we have an independent water infrastructure where we dug a well, and we donated it to the government, and we built a water infrastructure, and now we have our own incessant potable water. And I understand that for people who are from maybe more developed countries, like, access to potable water might be like, it's a weird thing, but believe me, in Costa Rica we have a huge problem with potable water, although it rains so much. So having an incessant access to potable water is something which is like gold, and it's going to be gold in the next 10 years. We will see how the world is going to be developing. So in 2024, and there was a transition of like end of 23 and beginning of 24, we called this year creating a community, when people started coming back to the ARK, and there were more and more interest, and there were like first residents. So we built a proper team. We got our first residents settled down. We started with our trial events, our very first ones, and in the end of the year, we implemented our security 24/7. So this year, we call it the year of businesses and amenities. We're creating this ecosystem, and we have finished our yoga shala. We launched our property management service. We started now weekly event programming. So we're now working on our health program and in the process of creating our receptions at both entrances. And I'll explain you on the map a little bit later. And soon gonna build our community kitchen. So we have at least 3 years ahead of us of active work. And this active work involves building a school, creating a sports center, making several kids' playgrounds, making a co-creation lounge, and building holistic health center, and expanding the school. And then by the end of 2028, this is the year when we're planning to start redistributing the profit from all these businesses. So this is our journey, and our present moment is looking actually very exciting. And honestly, looking at it now, if I could have several pictures of what's happening now in 2022, I would definitely be in a better mood those 2 years, because now it's truly heartwarming and beautiful. And maybe I'll start sharing this, and maybe also, Susanna, are you here still? I don't know.
Yes, I'm here.
Nice. Maybe I can make a little break. Maybe you can start. I'll leave you with this with the present moment, and I'll stop sharing the screen, and then I'll do it. I'll jump again. Oops.
You hear me? Okay. Is my microphone on? Okay, good. I can share a bit from an actual resident. My name is Suzanne. I'm originally from Switzerland. I moved here 14 months ago, built a house. You can see it with the pool in the back, with the view. And actually, I live at the ARK. Like I wake up here every morning, and I think it's really interesting for a lot of people to hear from a resident how it actually is to live here. I moved here by myself, but together also with my stepsister who lives next to me, has her house next to me. So it is possible to do this. It feels I'm like found the ARK on Instagram 2 years ago. I always wanted to live in a community or for a longer time. But for me, it was very important to live in a modern place. I love yoga. I do plant medicine. I love spirituality, but I also love the modern lifestyle. I don't want things to be just one-sided. So that's when I met the ARK or found the ARK. I knew this was the perfect combination of all the worlds that I was interested in. I would say also the people who are here, the whole community, they're all from all places in the world. They're from Europe, they're from Australia, they're from America, from Canada. They're literally from everywhere. And at the same time, it doesn't really matter where they're from. I think we never actually talk about it, right? Where we are from, it just doesn't matter. So for instance, yesterday we had a dinner. And of course, we talked about the things that happened in Spain and Portugal. And I can say for me, I live 100% on solar. I have a pool, I have air condition, I cook, I love to cook, but I live 100% on solar. I have no additional energy source. So of course, yesterday when I read, and I have a lot of friends in Europe and in Portugal, also in Spain, of course, the first thought was like, now we start, because I moved here because I saw that Europe changed the way of freedom. Like we are not free anymore. So and then everyone, of course, around me was always like, yeah, but you talk about this for years, but nothing is happening. Nothing is actually happening. And I think this year we slowly start to see that things are actually happening, things that we always thought. So for me, to live in a place that is off grid, we have a lot of electricity outages here in Santa Teresa for whole days. I don't even feel them. Yeah, it's really astonishing. And also I tend to see the fruits that are now, because building a house is not so easy. It's like moving from Europe to here. It's a very big change. But yesterday was the first day where I was like, now I'm seeing the fruits. Like slowly, it's really freeing to be living here in your own house. You're really off grid. You don't need energy from outside. The sun gives it. We have food from the farm. We have our own water source. Yeah, it is really the dream. It is really the dream for me, and it's tangible. It's not like it's not a vision. I feel like more and more people, like even this year, a lot of people start to build their houses, and also a lot of people are sometimes a bit worried, like, but what happens if I move there and I don't know anyone? But honestly, I tell you, it's so easy to meet people here, to have friends groups. For me, actually, I have to take days where I just have days for myself, because you're always in dinners and meetings and you do sports together. You go, I don't know, I have every day invitations to go to sound healing, to do this, to do this. So no one has to worry about, like, a lot of people come to Santa Teresa because they all started a new life. So the energy is very new. Like, people are very open, they're very healthy. Like, sports and movement and healthy lifestyle is just normal here. It's part of the everyday life. Like, people go to sports every day in the morning at 6, or if you go to the beach, everyone's walking there. The biggest topic in this town, I think it's the waves. We don't talk about politics. People always talk about waves. Yeah, it's low tide, it's high tide. I really had to get used to it because I came from a snow country. So, but I have to say it's a very different life here. But just this week, I had a call with friends and they ask me, and I say, I feel like I'm living here, even though it can be very intense. Because we also, like, I feel like in our modern world, we do a lot. If it gets a bit difficult, we go and buy something, or we go and consume things. And here, there's not so much consumption. So you really, like, have to confront yourself with things that come up. But the life is very free. Like, you're always tanned, always sporty. I lost weight. You become very healthy. Yeah, it's actually really nice.
Thank you, Suzanne.
I feel like an advertisement, not?
It's a good one. Thank you so much.
No, but I also have to say, sometimes it rains a lot. It's not that everything is roses and rainbows. Like, it's very an extreme life here. Nature is very extreme. But that doesn't lower how you feel. Like,
true.
And of course, if you want to ask me things, you can ask me anything.
Yeah, I have a question actually, Suzanne. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm wondering what got you to leave. Did you have something that pushed you out of Switzerland, or did you have something pulling you into Costa Rica?
I would say it was a chain of things that happened for so many people. Also, like for me, started with the pandemic, because I would say I saw the world very different before. I had my own business. I'm a fashion designer. I had a sustainable fashion brand in Switzerland. I was in a hamster wheel. I was in a world. I was busy. I was just busy. I didn't have time to think about. I was actually really glad when I could do all the things I had to do, pay my taxes, do this, do this, do this. But I was also really stressed, like very stressed. I feel like the month before the pandemic happened, I was on a stress level like we had the highest numbers, the best sales, but also I felt wow, because when the pandemic happened, I was actually really relieved that I could just sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, wow, I finally have rest. That's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
of course, then a lot of things started to change, and I realized how the world's happening, and also that my own country, like Switzerland, was very free. We could elect for everything. I still realize it when I'm here. I was raised very free, like free in my mind. But in the pandemic, that started to change. They made decisions that we didn't want, and
Mm-hmm.
I started to realize I'm not free. I'm not free here, and things will change. Like I traveled a lot to Italy. I have Italian roots. I saw what happened in Italy. I saw what happened in France. I saw very clearly what happened in Germany. So I just had a glimpse. Something in me started to realize things are going to change. Either I want to see it or not. I have to change something. And I didn't want to be this frog that is in the cold water and then it's slowly heating up. It is hard to explain because a lot of incidents led me to find for another solution.
No, it's very clear actually, but the way you're expressing it. Thank you. And another question is, do you keep working now, or are you living from subsidies of some sort, or how do you make it?
I had some money before, and I put them into crypto right at the perfect time, and it gives me a lot of space to still live from it. Also, once you are here and you have a house, you don't have high costs. Like I don't have electricity costs. I don't have rent to pay. Of course, I have to buy food, but it's not like that's not the world.
Yeah.
And that was part of my idea from here, because also in Europe or in Switzerland, the costs were rising, and I was like, what is going to happen in the future? Like,
I mean, it's getting worse and worse. It's absolutely mad. In Paris, you can't live in a decent flat below 1,500 or 2,000 euros per person, which is getting. It's supposed to be a third of what you earn, and who earns 6,000 in Paris? It's quite rare, actually.
Yeah,
So
and then you have the restaurants. I feel like the inflation is kicking in so hard.
Yeah.
In Switzerland, like the insurances were everything. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's even worse in Switzerland, absolutely.
So this was part, and I always loved the idea of crypto. So it gives me some space, because it's also like a big change when you come here. I come from a very different culture, and I still realize this every day. So I do work, but crypto gives me the freedom that I don't have to earn. Like,
I see. Good to know. Thank you so much. It's good to know.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you so much. But we gotta get also to more questions, and I'm also writing these interesting things that potentially would be interesting to add to the next presentation, which is like also these possibilities, right? Like by us creating this ecosystem of the ARK, what we also want to do, because it's a valid question for many people. Like if I'm moving because we all love the idea of moving to Costa Rica. Who doesn't, right? But then what am I going to be doing there? Like, not everybody works online. But also, like, by creating this ecosystem, it also involves residents' participation if you want. And we have, for instance, project management position here, who is taken by one of our residents. We are now discussing like several other positions which are going to be filled with residents. So like the idea is, like, if it's an ecosystem, this ecosystem can be self-feeding in a sense, right? And this is, remember when I shared this thing, so like where we have this kind of active participating residents. So like part of the profits of the project are also going. So you kind of growing together with the project, the more project evolves. And whatever skills and skill set you're possessing, it definitely will be needed at the ARK. Well, we don't do everything, but we do a lot of like not only like construction and development, but there are like many other things, right? It's like at school or holistic practices, events, marketing. There's just so many things that we're growing and doing. So like it definitely will be needed. So this is our community at the current moment. We are from 34 to 60 years young. We're very different. We are single, we're in partnership, we're married with kids and married without kids. And we are from, I think, 15, I haven't calculated here, but I think we're from 15 different countries. And we're 32 adults at the moment with 17 kids and 20 people, team members, team people. Our farm, as I was saying, that we start in 2022, as of today, has more than 200 plant varieties. We have a little organic market that we started selling the produce during our farm days. And we're planning from May to like kick off like the food boxes service, where we sold already the first one in this month, in April. So we're excitingly looking into like the farm starting to be like this kind of food provider for the community and for the larger community as well. We have launched the hospitality services. So whenever you want to rent out, you remember when I was talking about this thing, sorry, I'll bring it back to this slide. You remember when I was talking about this slide, property management, right? So this property management is actually this hospitality service. So whenever you have your house at the ARK and you want to rent it out, the ARK takes charge of renting it, your property. We're charging 15% for renting out of your property. And this, so 85% are going to you. And this 15% are falling into the same like pocket of the ARK, which is getting redistributed among everyone. So technically, whenever your neighbors are renting out their properties, you're making money from this as well. You better think about it like this. We have our ongoing weekly programming. So we had our first concert. This is our shala that we built and our first concert. So we made our first concert. Now we started already with our daily movement classes. We have a wellness team that joined us, with whom we are building now retreats and hosting retreats and organizing our own retreats and implementing larger wellness offering into our weekly services. And we're having our regular community gatherings. So this is us of where we are standing as of today. I think I mentioned everything. I don't know, Suzanne, if you want to correct me if I said something wrong. Maybe I haven't mentioned something that we're doing.
No, I didn't.
I think
It's correct.
Thank you. Yeah, and this is the information on how to join us. So this is our home. This is the ARK. It's an 80-hectare property. And this is everything in orange. You can see everything which is like amenities or communal spaces, right? So we're going to have 2 receptions. So this is from this entrance, you're driving to the airport 15 minutes. And from this one, you're driving to the beach like 7 minutes. And we're going to have 2 receptions at 2 entrances, the ones that I said that we're doing this year. Here we're going to have an art center. All this land is our farm. It is 6 hectares farm. And inside of the farm, we have the shala, we have the community kitchen. We're starting now working on our school, organic supermarket. This is the sports center, and here's going to be a co-creation lounge, and this is a temple. a space which is disconnected from religions, but at the same time connected to whatever spiritual practices that you're having. Our lots are pretty big. They start from 5,000 square meters, which is around 1.2 acres. And we are giving a very low density to build on the land, which means like you can build on 10% of the land where you can build like houses and pools, and then additional 15% for supporting structures like garages or warehouses. And we're including a potable water access and percent of the profit according to the stage that you're joining. And this is the renders of like the houses. So this is the house of actually a friend of Suzanne that we are now starting to build on lot 59 on this one. And this is like here you can see like our architectural guidelines, or like the architecture towards which we're striving. And there are several stages how to join us. So we closed already the first stage then when we started. And actually, I'm going to share with you something else now, which is an exciting opportunity. So we closed already this first stage that we had, and we still have a stage of, we call them founding members. And then in 2025, we're in the second stage of sales, with the prices starting from $327,000, or for founding members, when you pay everything at one, we're giving a 10% discount, so prices start from $294,000. And if you're choosing to pay with installments, we're giving up to 24 months installment payments. Or also you can opt for bank financing, and the bank can finance you from 15 to 30 years. For Europeans, actually, it sounds like a pretty high interest rate, which is around 8%, because Europe has very low interest rates. For Americans, the interest rate of 8%, they're like, yeah, it's very close to America. But these are the stages of our sales, of our land sales. And unfortunately, we don't have it in this presentation. We're going to have it in the next one, but we are renewing the offer of fractional ownership, which is an opportunity to buy a fraction of the property of like a 5,000 meter lot with 8 individual houses on it. And you can buy a fraction of the property, which allows you to stay on the property for each fraction allows you to stay for a month on the property. And actually, like, you can buy like as many fractions, as many shares of the property as you want, and it starts from only $22,000. So now we're going to send you all this information by email now, but practically in the next presentations, we're going to have it already implemented. We developed this concept last year, and it was in the back burner a little bit. So now we're taking and starting building it pretty much very soon. So these are the opportunities how to join us. And I think this is the end of my presentation. I'll stop sharing the screen so I can see your faces if you have questions. And I think, Chloe, you had questions about fractional ownership. If you want, I can share a little bit more if there is an interest. It's an interesting concept.
Yes. Yeah, I was really interested in the fractional ownership. So you're saying, like, if you buy a little bit of one lot, like, you get to stay 1 month, or how does that, like?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way what is fractional ownership, right? Like,
Yeah.
fractional ownership concept in general is that when you're buying something together with other people, and you're
Okay.
buying, and this is very popular concept for luxury real estate, or for yachts or the planes. You can buy now very much a lot of things in fractional ownership. So, and the logic comes from a very simple idea, right? That if I'm buying a private jet, I don't need the full private jet all the time. It's a great. I really love the idea of having a private jet, although it's very bad for ecology. But just let us play with this idea. Oh, let's play with the idea of a yacht. If we're buying a yacht and we're like, okay, I don't need a yacht all the time. Like, it's like I need a yacht like maybe 10 days a year or 20 days a year, but I want to have my yacht. So I'm gathering Catherine and Suzanne and Chloe, and I'm saying, like, let's buy a yacht. And you're like, yeah, sure, great idea, let's buy a yacht. And we're together buying a yacht. And this is the concept of fractional ownership. So we're together sharing the maintenance expenses, we're together sharing the crew, and we're using, whenever I am using the yacht, I'm paying, of course, for the gasoline and like tips for the crew and whatever. And whenever it's docked, we all are sharing the expenses for the docking services, right? So like kind of but we all have a fraction of the yacht. And whenever I want to sell a yacht, and I'm offering it to you, and I'm like, hey girls, I'm planning to sell my shares. Like, would you like to buy my share? And you can buy my share, or somebody else can buy my share, and like you're gonna be owning yacht with somebody else now with Samar, let's say so. So the same goes to for the real estate. So what we have done, because we understand that there's just like people are in different financial conditions, and also very often people don't want to spend full year in Santa Teresa, but you want to come and be here for a couple of months. So we were like, okay, how can we help these people, and how can we create a concept that's going to work? So what we did is like we dedicated one lot of the ARK, and we decided to make there 8 small houses. They're 100 square meters, like 60 square meters internal and 40 square meters outside. So 100 square meter house, 2 bedrooms. And when you're buying fractional ownership, you're buying a part of the company that owns all this. So you're buying a part of the company that owns a lot and 8 houses on it. And one share gives you an opportunity to stay for a month on this property. And for instance, imagine if you would come and you would say like you're coming with your mom and your sister, and you want 2 different houses for them. So you need 3 houses. So actually, and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna camp for a week, and I will stay in 3 houses. So that's like how you think about it. And if you only own one share, and then for instance, you stayed for a week and you owned in 3 different houses, like your mom, your sister, and you yourself. And now you have one more week that you're saying, I'm not going to be using this week. So you're giving this week to the rental pool, and the ARK is renting out this rent this week, and you are getting the money from this rent. So it's an investment along with an opportunity to live, along with an investment in the long term, because now you're owning part of this property, right? So whenever you want to sell it again, now the property has appreciated in value. So the market grew, the ARK grew. So like something that you bought for $22,000 in the beginning now maybe cost 30. I'm just throwing a number. So then you're like, okay, so like I used it for several years, and now I don't want to use it anymore, so I'm selling. And then in this case, it's either the ARK that is buying the share from you, or the ARK is looking for another customer who will buy it from you. So that's what we're creating. Actually, it's created already, and we're just working on the like new updated presentation, and it's going to be introduced into this presentation with the founder. So in 2 weeks, if you show up, you'll see it. And we're going to start hosting regular meetings also about fractional ownership, because we have a lot of interest. We already have I think 9 shares that we sold. So we're getting into like more active work on this project, which is very exciting.
Yeah. And is there like, for instance, now it's like, okay, you buy 1 share, you get 1 month, but will there also be possibility if you say I buy 3 shares, so you get 3 months?
Exactly. And you can buy 12 shares, and then you can get 12 shares cost $240,000, and you're getting a dedicated house if you want, if you wish. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can get 3 shares, you can buy 6 shares. So like think about it like this. It's not according to months, it's actually according to weeks. So 1 share gives you 4, because the years are weird, right? So like it's but each share gives you 4 weeks.
Okay.
So you buy 3 shares, it's 12 weeks a year, and you can get we made it this way that your minimum stay is like a week. So you can stay, I don't know, 1 week in November, 2 weeks in December, 1 week in, I don't know, March, and then rent out the rest.
Okay. Very interesting. I will definitely be there when the presentation goes about.
Amazing. Perfect. Yes, we're super excited about this project, and we made the houses are looking very cute, very, very good, and it's just like it's amazing architecture.
Yeah.
And it's
do they have a small pool as well, or no?
And that's a
Yeah.
great question, because we actually on the team meeting like last week we added a small pool for like, but we made a communal pool on the property, right? So it's like one
Perfect.
pool for all 8
Perfect.
houses.
Yeah.
So it has a
Perfect.
pool.
Okay.
It's close to the sports center, and at the sports center we're now starting building 2 paddle courts and a tennis court. So it's all like, the idea is like it's the whole like, you know, walking lifestyle, if you want,
Yeah.
if you wish. Yeah, so
Okay.
like you can walk to the class in the morning and then get back and then like have a smoothie and.
But it's really nice to know that you're working on this, because for me myself, I'm someone who doesn't have like a lot of budget, or and I think more and more people of my age will be in the same situation, because as we were talking about the world and everything, and the governments and everything is so much more money. So I think that gives me an opportunity to maybe like invest and still have something of my own. So I'm very excited about it. Thank you so much. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you, Chloe. Great. Next, I'm excited to share this because I really love this project. We've done a lot of work with the team. It took us like several months to work out. It's a lot of like, when we just sharing about it, it's the pinnacle, right, of like what we're sharing at the tip of the iceberg. It's just like, like the property, but then it's like the rest is like so much of legal structuring and work and like financial teamwork, and it's just like, you know, legalities of so many details, and it took like 3-4 months of like active work for us to structure it. And because we had so many things going on, I was actually very disappointed and frustrated that we were not kicking it off. And we had several potential residents here recently, and they really liked the idea, and like without us even talking much about it. And because they expressed the interest, it allowed us to roll it out again. So we all are very excited about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Amazing. You're welcome. Thank you. It's a very intimate webinar that we had today. It's great. Thank you. Catherine, how are you feeling? You have some questions, comments?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Thank you so much for this presentation. I found it really concise and easy to digest. So that's precious, because it can take many directions and could have been much more complex. So thank you very much for that. And it shows also the idea of community. It puts it in, it highlights it in a very nice way. The fact that you have events, that there are gatherings of all sorts, that, like Suzanne said, you're going out to dinner and visiting friends, and you have to take time for yourself. For me, there are 2 questions. You have to take time for yourself as you're going out so much. But for me, there are 2 questions. In my personal journey, I've been, for me, spirituality is super important, finding a direction that's super upwards and forward. And for that, I don't know Costa Rica, I don't know how it is with that, because I've lived on lands that were very, very spiritual. Paris is, in many ways, that is not obvious, but it's actually a super highly spiritual place. And if you want to be, and I lived in India quite a bit. I lived in Auroville, so I've seen communities that were.
Wow, okay, you saw the ultimate one.
Yes, the ultimate one, indeed. I saw where it was going, and the fact that it's going. Yeah, it's a direction that's a bit. It's complex. It's very complicated, also. But I mean, too much spirituality probably kills spirituality somehow. But there is a me. I mean, but there's also something very, very interesting in being able to meditate, as in just sit down or do martial arts, or just synchronize together, so that as a group we can drop intentions in the field and ask for the betterment of everything. I don't want to go to a retreat, I don't want to go to a place where I can hide from the world.
You want to live in the retreat center.
I mean, it's great. I love retreat centers.
Yes, of course.
I go to my retreat center with my friends in India, actually in the hills, but they are so dogmatic. They're going crazy, literally. They think that banks are going to collapse next week and that everything's going to go sideways. and that they're the only place where it's good to go and retreat, you know, because they're the best, obviously. So yeah, every place is gonna blossom with many ideas and many places, and the fact that it's so international in the ARK is really, really interesting. But how would you say that spirituality can be an engine for someone living there? Like, how is the land connecting with us, and how are, I know that nature is really well treated, but you know, see what I mean? How is it feeding us, nourishing us?
Yeah, that's a good question. Suzanne, you want to answer?
I can say a few things.
I will add as well. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Go
I
for it.
say very short, but the land is so powerful. I never
Okay.
experienced. I lived in the mountains, and the mountains are very powerful. I did even rock climbing, and I went to high alpine. I connected a lot with the mountains, but this land here is different because, especially for us women, this is Mother Nature. Like, it's the ultimate feminine force here, and it also brings you so strongly back to your own feminine, or it has to. It breaks all the chains, like if you want or not. It's just, and I feel like that's the ultimate spiritual thing. It's really like, I mean, of course, you can do every day. You can go to mantra singing, you can meditate, you can go to yoga, you can sound heal, you can take plant medicine. There's nothing that's not here. This is like the mecca of people, like even surf. Like, surf seems like very spiritual. But the land for me is the most powerful because it's nothing I've ever seen before. It's just so powerful, and I start to research a lot. Some people tell me stories, and like, there's like, we live here on a crystal. It's like a crystal ground. There's also an underwater volcano, so the energy is really strong.
Yeah.
So if you want to dive deep, well, here's the place.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, it's I think I lived in Tulum before, and I moved there in the beginning of 2018, and I moved out. Well, I embarked on this search of finding the land in Costa Rica in May 21, right? Well, in the beginning of 21, with the fallacy of Tulum, let's say. So, but I still kept my place in Tulum till March 23. So for 5 years I lived in Tulum, and I honestly loved this place too much, maybe, as nature and everything. But this is the thing, like what I realized later on, right? It's like Tulum became famous for its like kind of wellness and spirituality and everything, but it was only about it. And then it became a lot about parties and drugs. but it was like only about it. And what I think I like here is that it's very balanced. It's like spirituality is not something which is like that's it. There is so many more. Like, there's active life, there's connection to reality. Or sometimes spirituality can be very heady. It can be very like kundalini up, upper chakras, and then there is no grounding, and you talk to people who don't have substance, in a sense, you know. They're all like they all goddesses and gods flowing through life, and then you're like, okay, it's so cool and I love it, but like a little bit of reality. And Costa Rica gives you this, you know. It's like, it's very balanced. It's like you cannot be in a white flowy dress. You're gonna be like, you know, on a quad, and then you have to like lift something. But at the same time, then you go and you drop into kirtan, and you're like, okay, you sing it all away, you know. So it's and the ARK, it's also for us. We practice different things, and this is I'm also actually thinking of like, maybe we have to add and talk a little bit about neutrality, right? It's like how we and that's why we are the ARK, right? We're the ARK of the vessel. Right, we're uniting the best practices, the best that humanity and non-humanity has invented. Right, so we're like leaving everything bad behind. So everything that we like to say, like, we're celebrating the diversity. It's to like how can we celebrate Diwali and at the same time sit at the Shabbat dinner, but also like, you know, talk about what's happening in the world without having any dogmas or any, you know, dividing factors. So, and the same with the spirituality, even like the temple that we're planning to have. And the temple is like, I personally, I'm a burner. And for me, like temple at Burning Man is something which for me, is the most fascinating thing that I experienced in my life, because looking at it every year that I'm going, and then you coming in the beginning of the event, and it's just an empty vessel. And you just come and you see a structure and nothing else. It's just a structure, nothing special. And you enter there and you just feel a structure. The wind is flowing through, nothing. But then the way the temple serves is that people are bringing whatever they want to bring there. They come and pray. They come and bring like photos of people who passed away, and you can write everywhere on the walls. And the more you're coming every day to the temple during the week of Burning Man, you see that it's getting filled with this human energy that in the middle of the week, I'm saying now and I'm having shivers. In the middle of the week, you're coming and you're bursting in tears because of all the energy that people brought there themselves there. And the last day of Burning Man, the temple is getting burned and 80,000 people standing there and crying, watching it. And for me, when I saw this, I was like, wow, if ever we build a temple, this is going to be a temple which is not going to be like dogmatically saying something that you have to practice something, but it's just going to be the space to which you can bring whatever you want to bring. And we ourselves will feed the space with the energy. So it's like kind of this is our temple, which is going to be. And that's, I hope this answers the question about spirituality.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. It's telling me a lot about you too, actually, about how you see that and life in general. But it's interesting because it gives me a hint of what it could look like over there. My other question is more grounded in reality, as you'd like to say. I'm wondering how you acquired the land and how you structured that, if you had many companies, or, I mean, it's a deep question, actually. It might be deeper than spirituality itself, funny enough, but it's a very deep question, and it's my job. I do a lot of finance, but solidarity finance. And I guess my reason for asking this question is because my karma is so stupid with money. It's stupid. It's delusional. It's ridiculous. It's giving me lots of money.
In a good sense, you're getting a lot of money.
No, in every sense, I get a lot of money, and then it gets all thrown away with something. And apparently, I had a Vedic astrology reading a couple of months ago because it was a bit messy, and I thought, well, maybe I'll take a look, even though I don't want to believe in it. I'm very influençable. And anyway, this lady, she said, "Oh no, it's okay. You're fine. You just have another 18 years to go." I'm like, "Fuck, what? No, another 18 years? No, actually, that's not true. You did already 2 years. You have at least 16 years to go of financial drama. And please don't make a contract with buy land. Please don't make a contract with people who are gonna exploit you, or And I'm like, shit, man. So that's why I'm very meticulous with the specifics. Since it's my job, I guess I can read these things. I would be super interested to know. And from the heart, it feels and it sounds completely in place. And I also know that whenever I need something, it comes to me. So I can't really plan on one thing or another. I just need to have more specifics, more knowledge about how it works, what company owns what.
Yes.
Like the super specifics, and then I can let God decide and put in the work, and it'll just happen. So is that something that's available that I can get into?
Yes, it is available. I'm not sure if we want to do it, maybe what I would suggest, I can explain it now, briefly, but as you said, it's a large question, right?
No, it's a large subject. I mean, you would give me
maybe I can
that's
send an email. Send an email after. But what I can definitely, I'm happy to answer. And this is what we call it as what makes us unique, right? Spirits and structure. And this is exactly what I meant, right? Like very often these projects are like, oh, it's just like, fairy tale and ponies which are jumping on rainbows. But in reality, it's like it's a lot of structuring that has to happen, right? And this is also my kind of speciality, which I love a lot, which is exactly this, is structuring. So the way I'll quickly explain the very general things, and whatever, I'll send you an email, and whatever more precise questions you're gonna have, I'll send you the precise answers. Yeah. So the way we structured the whole deal is that I invested my own funds up to a certain extent, but I invested them in the development of the project. So the land, as it's structured, is under the development contract, which is blocked in the development contract, and it's on consignment. So whenever we're selling the land, whichever land lot, part of the money is going to the Costa Rican family who is selling the land, and part of the money are going to the ARK development, which is the company under which we are operating. And this company is Sociedad Anónima. How do you call it? That's in English. I won't be able to say it. Like it's not an LLC, but where like you have shareholders. How is it called? This company? It's shit.
I think it's the same in French, not?
Société Anonyme, non?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. Because in English, I'm like
Bien vu.
not sure. Yeah. So, but and this is done this way because you are getting part of the profit in this company. So when you're getting part of the profit with purchasing the land, the escrow agent is holding it back, so you're not getting your shares, and so you cannot sell your shares. Your shares are only sold together with the land that you're purchasing, and they're getting escrow agent with which we're working here in Costa Rica. They're blocking the share in them with an escrow. And yeah, this is like generally how it's like structured in very general terms.
Cool, perfect. Yeah, that's a good start. Thank you so much. That's so
You're
interesting. And I'm not I like law and I mean legal matters and finance in Europe,
Yes.
Specifically in France and in some other countries, but I don't really know the US or Costa Rican laws, so it'll be interesting to take a closer look at it.
Look, yeah, for sure, definitely. And there is also another thing that I forgot to mention, that the lots are titled. So whenever you're purchasing the lot, the title of the land is going into your name. So it's not a like common fund or something. So practically the ARK is a collection of 93 individually titled lots. So the land is yours. Yeah. Like, yeah. And this is like,
so if things go sideways, which is not at all envisageable, it's not what we're looking at.
yeah.
But if things went sideways, it would still be
the land is always yours. Yes, the land is always yours. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, as a profit partner, you're not responsible for any losses of the company. So you're not a shareholder that like you have to pay if the company is in minus. You're only receiving the profit.
They're not morally responsible or
Exactly, morally,
Yeah.
materially, whatever sense. Yeah, you're
Okay.
only receiving the benefits.
Super cool. And if we wanted to spend, is it easy? That's my last question. I have 1,000 questions, but this is my last
Sure.
now. If one wanted, that's what I usually do. I leave whatever I'm doing, and I leave for 2-3 months to go on a retreat or live somewhere else. Is that something that I can look at, or is it? I mean, unless I buy a whole house and go and come and live there. If I wanted to spend 2-3 months in a row, you said it was easier to think in weeks or fortnights. Is
Yeah,
it
you
okay
can do fractional ownership. Yeah. And even if you want to do and spend time now with us, you can come and stay at the ARK. We have
I mean,
properties
that would
there.
be the first thing to do, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
best thing to do, and that's what we realized. That's like people staying with us. Like now, we had this couple that stayed with us for maybe a month, Suzanne, and yeah, and it's just like there is no pressure on like you have to figure out everything now. You have enough time to understand the dynamic, meet the people, participate in the events, and go.
And then
out
it's easy to
dinner.
spend a month or two with you.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, we're gonna send you all also the link to request the property stay, and then you just send us the dates, and we're gonna get the reply what is available and what prices. And we have everything from a studio up to 7-bedroom house.
And good Wi-Fi.
And good Wi-Fi.
Super cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you so
wonderful.
much. Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
a great intimate gathering. Was not supposed to be that, but hey, that is everything is happening how it's supposed to happen, right?
Yes, indeed. And your presentation is super ready, so it's wonderful. It's going to attract a lot more people, I'm sure. 100%.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, Suzanne, for participating.
Thank you, everyone. It was really nice. And
Yes,
if you
it
have
was
questions, you can also always reach out to me. More,
We're
I can maybe
gonna
share
send
the
we're gonna share your contact details,
contact.
maybe your
If you have
Instagram.
other questions, you can always reach out to me.
You can subscribe to Suzanne's Instagram. It's like a reality show living at the ARK. Everybody, everybody
All right.
is like, we are not doing that
All right.
good of a work of social media as Suzanne, because like, you know, we're just like going like official, and Suzanne is like real thing. And everybody is like, wow, it's like really a reality show, not only in the ARK, but in general in Santa Teresa. The beach, these, that.
I'm looking for you, Suzanne, on Insta. Yeah, I found you.
We will say,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
there you go.
find you. Oh yes, the goats. Oh wow. Oh, you went Switzerland a couple of years ago. Oh, I see. But there's more to see. Ah, cool. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Perfect. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank
We'll send
you.
you all the
Great to
information.
meet you. Take
Thank you
care.
for joining. Bye. Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye.